Everyone wants to make a marketing plan for 2026 right now. And I love it. I love that for you. But most people plan from confusion and a bit of chaos, if I'm being honest, not from clarity. But something I've learned is that strategy built on confusion brings inconsistent results. You're not going to move past February if you're being lucky, more week 3 of January if you're being real. So as we head into 2026, hear this. You don't need a better plan or a new planning system. You first need clear direction. How to get this direction is what we're discussing on today's episode.
Do you want to be seen as the go-to in your industry, get more sales, easily attract new opportunities, but feel overlooked online? If so, you are in the right place. Hey, I'm Eugenia, but you can call me E. I'm a marketing strategist, a wife, and a new mom. I learned the secret of how to be seen as an authority and have people think of you for new opportunities and more clients. If you're ready to get clear on what makes your personal brand unique, build a magnetic presence online, and get more eyes on your business, this is your next move.
I don't know if I'm the only creative like this, but I'm a person that cannot do a fully planned year. Like, I just get itchy from doing the same thing month over month and seeing that my October is already mapped out. Like, sure, it might bring me momentary peace, but by April, I'm like, ugh, I'm bored. Like, I want to invent. I want to create. Like, that's in my nature. So I've had to learn, that's like a discipline I've had to create for myself, to be consistent with the things that matter. And that consistency in the important things allows me to feel free and creative where I have more room to improvise. And the reason I've been able to do that is because I've spent time defining a brand direction. And that keeps me so steady and anchored because I have something to go back to every time I have a new idea. So that's my proposal to you today. Before you focus on your marketing plan, please define your brand direction for next year. It's not the same thing, and sometimes it sounds confusing online, so I understand that you might feel a little bit confused. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, okay, I want clear direction for 2026, but I don't even know how to talk about what I do anymore, I made something to help you get started. It is called the Obvious Choice Bio Builder, and it's a short clarity kit that helps you articulate who you are, what you do, and how you want to be seen going into this new year. It also includes guided prompts that you can drop straight into ChatGPT. Like, I'm not against AI. So instead of staring at a blank page, you get support in shaping your intro, your bio, and the key ideas behind your brand message. If you are craving clarity before you build your 2026 strategy, this is the perfect first step. You can download it for free at clearbiobuilder.com. The link is in the show notes. If you're going to take away something from this episode, and yes, we're going straight into takeaway 3 minutes in because this is the thing I wanted to take away from here, and we're going to expand. But don't plan 2026 like a marketer. Plan it like a founder. This is a podcast for founders, for creatives, for visionaries. This is a podcast for people with all the ideas. This is not a podcast from someone who's taking someone else's strategies and visions and making it happen. Unless you are that person, but you secretly have another idea in your brain, in which case I got you. This also is for you. Because most creatives jump straight into the new content strategies, new offers, new posting schedules, new funnels. But clarity really comes from answering deeper questions first. Like, who am I becoming? What do I actually want to be known for? What feels aligned for this next season for me? What am I done carrying into 2026? What's the real message that I want to share? How do I want people to feel when they encounter my work? None of these answers have a right or wrong version. They have a true version, which is the true, whatever is true for you. And I trust that listeners of this podcast are courageous enough to stop lying to themselves. Like, I think it's a prerequisite And if you're not there yet, if you're like, oh, I'm still lying to myself, send me a DM, please. Let's talk. Like, let's have a chat, okay? My Instagram is at Eugenia.wu. Like, we need to have a conversation. But please make sure you're brutally honest answering this. And when you're done, that's when we're gonna go into this 3-part framework for setting your brand direction for 2026. And the 3-part framework is following my brand framework for whenever I do brand positioning audit, and then we will go into brand direction. It is identity, message, and presence. So for your identity, I want you to get clear on who you are for 2026. And here, reflect on the version of you that's emerging. Our businesses need consistency in messaging, need consistency in our content, and there's so much sameness that is required in business and in marketing. Absolutely. That's why I told you that for this exercise, I want you to think as a founder, because while our businesses need that consistency and it needs a lot of repetition, because marketing is a game of repetition, we are people. And we are building personal brands. And the tricky part here is that while, yes, marketing needs consistency, the people or whatever comes behind that consistency is a person. And that person changes. That person evolves. That person has skills and strengths that are coming at different seasons. And I don't think we're people who shift a lot of our values. I think values stay pretty consistent throughout our lives, but definitely there are seasons where when some values are louder than others, prioritization changes. And maybe, yes, if you haven't revisited your values in a couple of years, it's definitely a good time, because they definitely can change. But all of that to say that the person behind the brand, the human, it is a person evolving. That's why, again, I said, don't think like a marketer for today's episode, think like a founder. What is the version of you that's emerging? Also, I want you to think about the values that are leading you as you go into next year. I really value family personally. That's super important to me, like my deep relationships. And admittedly, in past seasons, I probably have prioritized achievement or like making my dreams come true. That has been like really strong for me. But in this season, while I still value achievement and I'm not letting go of my goals, like that's just not who I am, I'm tuning the volume up for family, because first, my baby is like in the critical years. Like he's at the time of this recording, he's 6 months old. So, this first year of life, especially the first 3 years of life, are so formative in everything for your personality, your confidence. Like it is very important that I prioritize my baby and also my marriage, because if you are a parent, you probably know that adding a baby, it takes such a strain in your relationship. And, for us, for sure, it has been an adjustment and a struggle. And I want to make sure we are still solid. Like, I don't want to be one of those couples that in 18 years, after the kid is gone from the house, they look at each other and they're like, oh, like, we have nothing in common. So, all of that to say that family, while it has always been important to me, I'm tuning up the volume a little bit for 2026 more intentionally, because for as I was going into 2025, I was pregnant. So while I was still thinking that family was going to be important, right now Ethan is here. So now it is more real. Like I'm like, oh, wow, I really want to prioritize family. And also another area that I want you to reflect on for this section of the framework on identity is that the areas where you've been hiding that now you're ready to own. And this is so exciting because it's kind of like the opposite. Like, okay, what areas were a little lower before? Like you tuned down the volume and now you're like, wow, I'm ready to get loud with this. And it might be something positive and exciting, or it might be something like an issue, like a mental block that you had that you're ready to talk about. It could be a problem, something that you struggle with. that you were quiet about, or now you're like, you know what? I want to use this thing that I overcame to help other people. Like, this is very exciting because it's like, what other areas were kind of in the background and people, they had no idea this was happening, that now I'm ready to be more vocal about. It could be a talent. Maybe you're like, you love singing and that's like your passion, and you used to sing in the shower and you're like, you know what? I want people to know that I love singing. Like, how can I incorporate that into my brand? I think it's super fun when you incorporate all these personal touches and how it influences your, your whole brand, your business decisions, etc. And this is not about oversharing or, sharing too much about who you are, but this is more about being intentional about how your internal world is going to show up publicly next year. And another area of reflection for this identity part is what roles or labels no longer fit with me. For so long, I was so proud of, this concept of workaholic, or I love the book Boss Babe. Like, I actually have the book and it was like my Bible for years. And I no longer resonate with that. And even being high achiever, I am finding my own version of it because I am not like an Energizer bunny anymore. So that's, the part of like, this is a label that I had and I owned with so much pride. And now I'm like, ugh, it just doesn't feel like me anymore. So when you reflect on your identity, I want you to reflect on your message. And that's, what are you here to say? So ask yourself, what transformation do I want to lead people through? And that's like such a simple question. I feel like marketers, I'm a marketer. Like, I do a lot of consulting for companies, specifically startups and tech companies. And I understand that there are frameworks and it's like very specific, not very sentimental. And like, I get it. But as a marketer, I tell you that we overcomplicate things so much. A simple question for your personal brand going into 2026 for your message is like, how do I want to transform people's lives next year? What do I believe is true in my industry? I think we don't ask this question enough. Like, I think we're going and going and going, and we don't reflect on what do we see happening in the industry. Also, what am I done pretending that I don't see? I think for me, I'm a little annoyed with the linkification of Instagram. And I'm annoyed. I've been rejecting that way, and I'm done pretending that I don't see it. I'm done pretending that I'm okay with having overly transactional relationships and looking at your Instagram followers as your potential buyers. Like, I don't think that's the vibe. I don't think that's how it goes. Even on LinkedIn, I'm starting to dip my toes on LinkedIn. And I'm like, I really am there to build relationships. Like, I'm a relationship first person. And I'm done pretending that I'm not. And also, something I love, and as creatives, you're going to love this, is what story am I telling through my work? Because your work, that like everything about your brand, is also a story about yourself, about your growth. It tells a story about the season of life you're in, about your passions, your fears, and how you overcame them, how you grew. So, what is the story for 2026? I think that's super exciting. I want you to write the story. I think if you do that exercise, you're going to get very, I don't know, ilusión. I think that's a word that comes to me in Spanish. Ilusión is like that Christmas morning feeling of a child. Like, oh, what did Santa bring this year? Like, that's the feeling of writing. What's the story I'm telling? Because your message is really your strategy. Like, everything else, the specific words, that flows from it. Like, this message is the thing that sets the direction. And the third step to get clear in your brand direction for 2026 is your presence. So this is how will you show up in a way that supports you. Not in the way that everyone's doing, not in the way that you think you have to show up, but in a way that's supportive. So yes, sustainability. Sustainability is not only important for the environment, it's also important in the way that you live your life and run your business. What does sustainability look like this year? What are things you can keep and things you are ready to toss? What style of expression feels natural to me? Am I still liking Instagram? Am I feeling like, dang it, like I want to have a podcast? Like that's my dream. Or are you like, I want to write my thoughts. I'm done with short form. I really want to expand. Maybe a subtask or a newsletter is a thing for you. That like don't get limited by, oh, everyone says that this is a thing that's working. Like right now it's about brand direction. This is not about the marketing strategy and like what's working. Like this is about what's your direction for next year. Like what is expression, what in terms of expression as a creative, what feels natural to me? And also what content feels aligned with your energy this season. Find what is something that supports my energy, my season. What do I want showing up on like to feel like? And I think feelings are so important. And that's why I talk a lot about feelings and emotions in brand direction, which is not part of your marketing strategy, which is why I said don't think like a marketer for this episode, think like a founder. Even though you're both your business, you're the marketer and the founder. But right now, as a founder, what do I want? How do I want it to feel like? Like, when was the last time someone asked you that? Your brand presence is all these conceptual pieces coming up into the world. So to recap, as you set your brand direction for next year, keep this with you. When identity is clear, decisions are going to feel lighter. When your message is clear, your content is going to get easier. When your presence is aligned, consistency is going to become natural. When all these three connects, your offers are going to refine themselves and people are going to find them so much more attractive because they're going to feel that confidence that you have, that you really believe in what you're saying. If you want to get clear on your direction before you build your strategy, I created something for you. I told you about it earlier in this episode. It's called the Obvious Choice Bio Builder, and it is a clarity kit that helps you articulate who you are, what you do, and the identity you want to step into for 2026. It is incredible. It has 35 prompts. It helps you process everything with AI, and it is the perfect first step toward the direction that you are creating. You are going to love it because I made it specifically like for you, and after I was done, I was like, dang it, like this is so valuable. So go to clearbiobuilder.com, download it for free. You're going to love it. Come back to me and report on your findings. I am rooting for you as always, and I see you back here very soon. Un beso.
I hope you loved today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and send it to someone who's ready to be seen as the go-to in their industry? Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. I love reading your comments. They remind me of those little notes you would send your friends in high school, you know? Okay, see you back here soon with the next episode. Un beso.